Hi everybody! Welcome to Sophie's Tales channel. Make yourself as comfortable as you can and leave your worries and stress behind. This time is to relax. Take breaths and feel the tension leave your body. Close your eyes and dream the story I am about to tell you. A dreamy Christmas story which became one of the most famous ballets. The Nutcracker. Many years ago, one frozen Christmas Eve, the Stahlbaum family had organized a big celebration. Clara and her little brother Fritz couldn't wait for the party to begin. The guests finally arrived, and all the children ran into the living room ahead of their parents to see the Christmas tree that was decorated with candles and to wonder at the colorful packages underneath. "Your godfather has come!" Clara's mother shouted loudly to be heard over the din and laughter. Clara ran to meet Mr. Drosselmeyer. Even though he was old and sort of strange, she loved him a lot. "Here comes my nephew," said Drosselmeyer, and the boy who accompanied him gave his hand to Clara. "I have also brought your gifts," and by turning some hidden windows, the dolls he had with him began to wear like real people. Wide-eyed in awe, the children watched their dance. Then the expensive gifts went into the closet. "And now a special gift for a special girl," said Drosselmeyer. And from his pocket he took out a little colored wooden soldier and showed Clara how she could crack walnuts with it. "What a wonderful nutcracker!" Clara said. "Thank you! This is the best gift ever!" "Give it to me!" shouted Fritz and pushed the other children, all excited. And as he snatched it from her hand, the nutcracker fell to the floor and broke. Before Clara could start crying, Drosselmeyer rolled up the nutcracker's head with a scarf. "By morning it will be again fine," he promised Clara, who put the wounded toy on her doll's bed. "Go to sleep and don't worry." Clutching the presents in their arms, the excited children reluctantly followed their parents home. Fritz went back to his room more embarrassed. Clara kissed her nutcracker and she fell asleep too. The house was plunged into darkness and no noise could be heard. Clara tiptoed down the stairs to make sure her nutcracker was there. To her great relief, she saw that he was still where she had left him. However, the familiar room had changed somewhat. Long, narrow shadows crept across the floor, and the pendulum that signaled at the middle echoed fearfully in the darkness. Suddenly, the Christmas tree started rustling back and forth. Its delicate ornaments trembled, its tresses fluttered, and suddenly the tree grew taller, reaching the top of the room. Clara felt tiny and scared in front of this gauntlet light. I would better go back to my bed, she thought. But she saw that her way was blocked by a fairy white mouse, and behind him a whole army of mice with sharp claws and long tails were coming towards her. "Help!" cried Clara. At once, Fritz's lead soldiers rushed to her defense, and the Nutcracker leaped to his feet and rushed into battle, striking the Mouse King with his sword. Although he fought bravely, after a while the Nutcracker succumbed to the king's ferocious onslaught. Desperate, Clara tried to escape him by throwing her slipper at the Mouse King's face. He turned in surprise, and the Nutcracker seized the moment and killed him with a blow of his sword. The vanquished might perished, carrying their dead king with them. But the Nutcracker also disappeared, and in his place appeared Drosselmeyer's nephew, dressed as a prince. Placing the crown of the Mouse King on Clara's head, he led her away into a brilliant blizzard. Clara and her brave prince had just come out of a snowstorm and were now in a candy wonderland. They walked down cookie streets, past lemonade fountains and bright candy houses, until they arrived in front of the Sugar Plum Fairy's transparent palace. "Thank you for coming," the delicate fairy told them. Her voice was like silver bells ringing all together. "Have you met difficulties in your journey?" "We had to deal with the mice," Drosselmeyer's nephew told them. "I wouldn't have managed it on my own, but at the last moment Clara helped me, throwing her slipper at the Mouse King. We won them." Clara's face lit up with joy as she listened to his description. Deep inside, even if she didn't speak, she felt proud of her courage. "If you want, you can sit down for a while and rest," Sugar Plum Fairy told them, "and I will call out a variety of sweets while they dance for you." She led the children on a magnificent throne, and servants, as tiny as goblins, offered them cakes and cool refreshments. Then, with a wave of her magic wand, the fairy made the revelers appear. First appeared the chocolate, through a throng of Spanish mountaineers who were melting, stamping their feet, and shaking the shoulders into a swirl of cream. Then danced the luscious figure of Arab of coffee, floating in veils as transparent as foamed milk. The Chinese tea burst upon the stage like a great ray of sunshine. Effervescent with joy, bowed again and again to the children and the other guests. Then the parade was joined by boisterous Russian mints, who somersaulted around the throne, leaving behind cool jets of vitality. Finally, a group of shepherdesses baked from almond hairs clothed the show with finesse and grace. Clara was clapping her hands with delight and eating tiny jellies. "Which dance did you like best?" asked the prince. "What do you think we will see now? I never imagined that the world hid such sweetness and so many surprises." The boy smiled at her and Clara noticed that the frosting had turned his mouth cherry red. Before he could answer her, the happy mother Peppercorn rushed onto the scene, shaking her apron and leading the children who ran before her. Fluffy as a pillow, she waited patiently for as long as they rushed around her. Then she stretched out her hands and she hugged them. They left like that, hugs close, tickling each other and laughing. The silence that followed was filled by a bouquet of sugared lollipops, which began to dance on the icing floor, opening and closing their sugary petals in waves. The buds danced from one end of the room to the other, creating intricate formations around the lollipop pillars and finally recreating the original beautiful bouquet. At the end, the Sugar Plum Fairy reappeared on stage with her own handsome prince by her side. Their nobility and grace then formed their dance into a tender pas de deux. When the fairy danced alone, she seemed to Clara like an apparition, as airy as a beautiful dream. This is exactly how I want to be when I grow up, thought Clara, and I want all my holidays to be as lively and beautiful and joyful as this one. After descending from the throne, she kissed the Sugar Plum Fairy and thanked all the dancers. She then took her prince by the hand, and together they set out to explore the future. I wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.